Okay, the next speaker used to be the leading voice around the world related to SEO, search engine optimization. And now he is right now also a leading voice in integrating artificial intelligence into marketing, and with something that he calls GEO, like generative engine optimization. He came directly from Los Angeles, and so for me, it's a real pleasure to welcome Neil Patel, who is the founder of MP Digital and a leading voice around the world related to marketing. So, yeah, let's receive him with applause. Welcome, Neil.
Thank you.
Neil, we are really happy to have you here in Colombia. How are you feeling? This is not your first time in our country, right?
No, beautiful country. So I've been here before. Great people, great talent. We have Tima here as well. I don't know where they live in Colombia, but I'm assuming Bogota. I know some of them live in Medellin. But yeah, it's a great country.
Today we are gathering a lot of leaders and founders, startup founders and business leaders in different sectors. And I know that you are also a founder. When I am talking about you, I said you are the founder of MP Digital, but you have founded a lot of companies like Oversuggest that I use for my SEO strategy. How has been that way of founding a company?
Founding's always tough. I always say it's easier to buy than it is to build from scratch. Being a founder, there's a lot of uncertainty, there's a lot of ups and downs. It's like going on a roller coaster. Some moments are amazing, some moments are scary, and you always have to adapt. For example, our tools Oversuggest and Answer the Public are traditional SEO tools. But starting in end of January and end of September, we have 2 releases. We'll start releasing all the LLM features so you can track how you're doing on these LLMs and your rankings, and you can do a lot of that for free using the tools.
How was your first taste of entrepreneurship?
A lot of mistakes and a lot of lost money. I would say I started as an entrepreneur. I'm 40 now. I started when I was 15 and a half. So I've been doing this for a long time now. And when I started, I was selling CDs, selling car parts, not stolen car parts. I bought them from the store and sold them for more. And I created my first real online business was a job board where you would go to find a job. And I paid some people to help me out, and no one came to the website. Paid a marketing firm, got little to no results, and I had no more money. I was broke. I was frustrated. I had no option but to learn how to do marketing on my own. So I learned how to do marketing. I got a ton of traffic coming to my website, but I was still making no money. So I was getting frustrated. And by that time, I was around 16 years old. And I started taking college classes. I did well in school, so I started taking college classes at night while I was in high school. And one of the people in there worked at a large company, and they hired me for $5,000 a month. And I made him around $20-ish million in revenue through marketing. And then he introduced me to other clients, and then within a few months, I was making $20,000 a month. And I was 16 years old, thinking I was rich, which I wasn't, but I assumed. So even though I had a slow start, the first, call it 6 months to a year, a lot of failures, I did really well from 16 to like around 19 years old. And then I lost all the money, and then I made it all back in a few years and then kept going. I had a lot of ups and downs, but I think that's normal in entrepreneurship. You just got to be resistant. My co-founder, Ethan Shaw, my brother-in-law, he sold his last company to Dropbox. He says it best. Being an entrepreneur, it's not about being resilient-minded. Of course, a lot of entrepreneurs are. But the big thing that a lot of entrepreneurs have to be good at that people don't talk about is you have to deal with uncertainty. And that's the reality.
A lot of people know you for your videos on social media and on platforms such as YouTube. Do you think that founders now have to become like content creators to push their own brands?
You do not have to be a content creator as a founder to push your own brand, but you should. Doing it gives you more leverage, more traffic, more awareness than not doing it. Now, whether you decide to do it or not, the one thing you have to do as a founder is you have to pay other influencers and other people in your space to create content on your behalf. If you do that, you can grow your brand quite fast.
We all know that the world is shaped now by AI. You just mentioned this concept that you are talking about, generative engine optimization. How can we be a really good storytellers in this world shaped by and surrounded by all those stories and content created by AI?
You can have AI help you create the story. You can ask it to help you create a story and tell them all your points. You can hire copywriters. You can talk from your heart. There's many ways. I think the best stories come from people just talking to their friend and sharing what's on their mind or on their heart. Those tend to be the stories that tend to do the best. And then you can have a marketer or ChatGPT spruce it up and make it sound a little bit better.
What do you think is the biggest misconception about marketing right now?
The big misconception that we see about marketing right now is people believe you can just do this, use AI and you make a ton more money. You can use AI and in most cases you will not make a ton more money. It's a great product, right? Depending which one you're talking about. But the technology is here to stay. It's amazing. Most companies don't know how to use AI to get tangible results. Tangible results meaning more sales, more traffic, more revenue, right? And that's what really matters as a company. You can do a ton of cool stuff with AI, but if it doesn't make you any more money, who cares?
What makes the company's online growth to take off in the real world?
Good product, good service. I'll give you a great example of this. We have two software companies, Uber Suggest and Answer the Public. Technically more than two, but let's just go with those two. How many of you guys pay for marketing tools like SEMrush or Ahrefs? Raise your hand, or your company does. Good amount of you in the room. How many of you guys pay for LLM tracking, solutions that help you track your LLM results? Okay. How many of you would use the LLM tracking software if it was less than $20 a month? Raise your hand. A lot of you. So the point I'm getting at is, and if it was free, how many of you guys would use it? Raise your hand if it was free. A little bit more. Okay, so good products market themselves. Marketing helps put more fuel to the fire so the message gets spread across faster and you get adoption quicker. But marketing a crap product or service is just throwing money down a toilet. To do really well in marketing, you first got to build a good product or service. That's the hardest part. Marketing is not that hard. Building a good product or service is much harder.
We have here people from different industries, so maybe some don't know what a LLM tracker is. Can you explain us, like, in a simple language, what a LLM tracker will be?
How many of you guys know what an LLM tracker is? Raise your hand. Okay, most do not. How many of you guys use ChatGPT? Raise your hand if you ever use ChatGPT. Okay, almost everyone. A LLM tracker is also like a ChatGPT tracker. Imagine putting your brand in like Louis Vuitton, Prada, or it could be iPhone, or it could be Forbes, or it could be anything. It could be Avianca. It could even be a smaller business. And it'll tell you how many times your brand is mentioned on ChatGPT for all the different searches people are doing or prompts people are using, and how many times you show up versus the competition, who shows up more, who shows up higher, and what people are saying. Are they saying positive things or negative things, which is the sentiment. So it not only tells you how many times you show up, it tells you how many times you show up versus the competition, and are people saying positive things or negative things.
What changed most in performance marketing?
But to go back really quickly, How many of you would use a tool that breaks down all of that for you on ChatGPT for your company? Okay, more people. But the point I'm getting here is, and the only reason I'm raising the hands, asking you to raise hands, isn't because I want to count how many people. I'm trying to show you guys that if you solve problems and you build products people need, you'll get users. But if you notice, never 100% of the room raise their hand. And in business, when you create a product, your goal isn't to create the best product for everyone. It's to create the best product for your ideal customer. Most products are never going to be used by everyone. They're only used by a certain group of people. And that's a group of people you need to please. You don't need to please everyone. Just build a good product for your ideal customer.
So that's the generative engine optimization, is like to be really well positioned in LLMs models.
Correct.
Neil, tell me something. What has changed most in performance marketing in the last years? Like 5 years ago, what was the first thing that you were like prioritizing in performance marketing, and what it is now?
So most people would say AI has changed the most over the last 5 years. That's the obvious one. I'm not going to give that answer. If you look at performance marketing, we have this concept called search everywhere optimization. So SEO typically stands for search engine optimization. We believe it's transformed to search everywhere optimization. There are over 50 billion searches that happen on the internet each day. 27% happen on Google. 6.5 billion searches happen a day on Instagram. 3.5 on Amazon, billion a day. ChatGPT has over 1 billion a day. All these platforms are decision engines. People are using them to make decisions about a product, a brand, a service, and you got to be there. In today's world, and this wasn't the case 5-10 years ago, you now have no choice but to focus on all the major platforms. Even if you're B2B, you still have to be on TikTok and Instagram. Even if you're B2C, you should still be on LinkedIn. You got to focus on all the platforms because the attention is divided. And I think it's going to continually get more and more divided.
What's the most underrated tactic or channel for entrepreneurs that you think right now that we should be paying more attention?
Email. And when I say email, everyone already knows about email, but there's this app called Zaymo, not Waymo, the Google company, Zaymo, Zaymo. It's an email solution where you can send someone an email. And when you send someone an email, like a sweater, I can let them in the email select the sweater, the color, the size, and they can check out all without ever leaving the email. They don't even have to go to your website. It's very underrated because you can make so much revenue by keeping people within the email client. It converts extremely well, but not a lot of companies use it. I don't know why, but it works well.
How is a perfect marketing team in a small business for you? How it should be?
A perfect marketing team in a business is ideally less than 50 people globally, or it doesn't matter if it's regionally. You don't want too many people, ideally under 10 people. And you have really amazing people that are good at specific channels, and then you're using technology to help them become more efficient.
There is any campaign or case that we should be paying attention to right now, like something that has blown your mind?
Jaguar. Have you guys seen the Jaguar fiasco? Yes, or some are no. Jaguar revolutionized their brand and they went away from selling cars to they created commercials with fashion. And they started getting involved into culture and politics, I would say. And guess what happened to their revenue? I believe it went down like 70% or something like that. The point I'm getting at is sometimes in marketing, people try to go too creative and too crazy. And when I say crazy, I'm talking about if you're a car company, you should be selling cars. You don't want to focus on dresses and pants. You guys agree with this, correct? And they didn't do that, and they started talking about all this other stuff, and then their sales went down. Their new campaign, ad campaign, had nothing to do with cars, which is their main product. They sell cars. And their revenue, Multi-billion-dollar company, more than 50% went away within 12 to 24 months. That's an example of what not to do. And then marketers get creative being like, oh, this campaign's done really well, it's creative. Who cares what you think? The revenue is down more than 50%. I would have fired those people.
One of the things that you have done is the international reach. Your platforms attract users around the world, and your agency has operations in 26 countries, I understand.
Something like that. I stopped counting.
How do you get, or how do you obtain that global reach and that global operations?
You just hire an amazing team. Like in LATAM, Javi leads all of LATAM. Underneath him, he has leaders for like Mexico, Colombia, Chile, Argentina, Brazil, etc. Right? You need amazing leaders. It's easier for Javi to run Latin America than I, because when I order food here, if I order a chicken sandwich, I get a vegetarian sandwich with no chicken. When Javi orders it, he gets a chicken sandwich. He understands the culture, the people, the language. I can learn it. I know some Spanish, not enough. We learned it in high school. And Javi, before, was a managing director at, what was it called? Mindshare? Mindshare, which is a large agency. So he already had the connections. He already knew a lot of the agency people. He already knew a lot of the best performing employees within the region. So the key to do well globally is you hire people who have already done it before. They're less likely to make mistakes. You don't want to hire someone and train them. You want to hire managers who already know how to do everything.
This is the end. Looking ahead, what are those major trends that you see in marketing for the next months?
Sure. So I'm going to give you quite a few different trends. The first trend is you need to enable people to buy your products and services on multiple platforms. So people should be able to buy your product on Instagram directly, Amazon, Mercado Libre, TikTok. If you're B2B, you need to connect with, the Amazon or AWS marketplace. Google has their own versions of marketplaces. Amazon and a lot of the other cloud computing companies do, Salesforce, etc. In B2B, you can sell your products in all these places and it generates revenue. Huge channel for revenue. The second thing you need to know is attention is divided and you need to be everywhere, including LLMs. When people type something in on ChatGPT and you ask them a question on ChatGPT, you want to make sure your product, your service, your brand is being recommended over the competition. It's one of the highest converting channels we've ever seen in marketing. Okay? The next trend that we're seeing is people need to start transcribing their content to multiple regions. You can use tools like HeyGen to take your content and put it in Italian. There's actually a lot of Italians here in Colombia. I learned that today. Half the people, not half, but maybe 20% of the people I met, their parents are all from Italy. And you can use tools like HeyGen to create your content in all the different languages. I can release a video and HeyGen will automatically translate it into Italian. I don't speak Italian. It just does it automatically, right? It can do it for Hindi. I'm Indian, but I don't know Hindi. It can do it automatically. The next big trend that we're seeing in today's world is you need to experiment more and more. See, right now, everything is becoming saturated and companies are moving so fast. What works today may not work tomorrow. You got to continually test and experiment. AI can help you do this faster. And if you do that, you're more likely to win. The next experiment, or the next thing that you should be doing that's a big trend, is influencer marketing. It works in B2B and B2C. It drives a lot of volume. And the last trend that I would say that you guys should really focus on is look at the old, boring, ugly channels like SEO. It still works. People are starting to forget about them and not spend money on them when they drive a ton of revenue, millions, if not billions of dollars globally. Just because something is old and ugly doesn't mean you should stop focusing on it because there's something new.
Neil, finally, how can we stay in touch with you? You have books, you have your podcast and your social media account.
So all my social handles are Neil Patel, my name. My company address is NP Digital. We have a team here in Colombia, and you can always just reach out to us directly or just ask us any question, or we're always here to help.
So Neil, thank you so much for staying here with us.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.